In this video, I'm going to show you a recording of a trade I took this morning in Nasdaq futures that was a loser, because we got to show losers too. And then we're going to go through a detailed breakdown of the trade so I can show you the logic behind it, and we're going to determine, was this a good trade that just happened not to work, or was it actually a bad trade? Let's take a look.
Again, it's just still a very bearish market. This is not an area that I'm super interested. I'd rather sell up here at 49 would be more interesting to me. If anything, this almost looks like it's setting up for a short. We had this kind of change of character here with this strong selling, and then this is just the first retracement. So this could be the first lower high into a new leg down. This is also now like a little bit more interesting than it was before, now that we do have that high there. I'm actually watching this for a potential short. I don't know if I want to take this or not. It does kind of look like a short to me. I maybe would have taken that. I'm gonna try it, I think. I'm gonna just go for 50 ticks. Need the sellers to get back below this trade bubble, this 2375. Come on, sellers. Give a little pump down now. That doesn't look good. Might take a loss on this one. There we go. Okay, one loss. No big deal. Basically, I saw us just coming up. We basically filled the imbalance and then came down. We made this little large print. Then it looked like we were breaking below that large print. Sellers are still here. Big rejection there. See, now this looks like a short, but now I don't have an entry.
Okay, let's do this breakdown. So I want to start out here on this 2-hour chart. There's just a few things that I want to point out here. So obviously overall this 2 hours in a bullish structure, but we are coming up here into some major resistance. This light magenta area up here at the high from yesterday is really just a few points away from the all-time high, and we rejected pretty strong from there. Now, we did have this also significant level. This was the overnight low. You'll see this on the lower time frames. It'll make a lot more sense why it's highlighted here, but we did break below that. Then I have these two magenta lines I want to highlight. So this upper one is from this wick right here that we then kind of ranged sideways. So I was looking at that as potential support. This lower one is actually from this swing high way back here. And I wasn't really giving this level that much significance, but this ended up being the level that the trade took place off of. And that's why I wanted to make sure you guys kind of saw that it was really only from way back here. And, you know, yes, price did have a hard time closing above it throughout this area, but it wasn't really like a precise level that I was watching to take an intraday trade off of. This green line across here is the point of control from this consolidation that came all through Friday's price action. And so that was another area that I was looking at for potential support. But also as we get close to those high volume nodes, to those points of control, they can often be magnetic. So as we got into there, I was thinking that, you know, shorts all the way down to that could be a really good option as well. All right, this is the 5-minute chart. Just very, very quickly, I just want to point out a couple things. One, I just circled here these areas where the overnight low, so this is overnight. This area right here to the left of this is Friday's price action. So Friday it was a swing high, a swing low, made a nice little support and resistance area, and then was tested in the overnight again. So when you see that kind of thing, you know, overnight highs and lows aren't always really significant, but when they align with significant price action, then you do want to pay attention to when those areas get tested and broken. And so that's why I wanted to highlight that this break of the overnight low on this particular day was significant. Okay, there's a bit more here on the 1-minute chart. You can see the structure is pretty bearish on the way down. This was the last major swing high up here. You can see this is that upper magenta level. And so when I was watching this, what I saw was a couple things. One, we came just about down to this high volume node, this point of control, but missed it by a couple of ticks. And that was significant to me because I figured we'd at least like really test it and possibly probe a little bit through. So I figured that this market definitely still has another attempt down in it, even if it's going to reverse. And the other thing is, I wasn't expecting it to reverse at this lower magenta line, even though you can see that the price action did get kind of significantly more aggressive from there. I was really hoping for it to come up into this area with these lows to test. But the only other confluence it had here is this 1 minute 20 EMA. I usually just keep this on here as a reference point. I don't generally take trades off it. But because this trade was setting up in an area that to me felt kind of arbitrary. Like this particular line across wasn't, like I said, a line I was looking to take a precision trade off of. It was really just a point of reference. And the other like significant structure is really up here. So, this was the only other real confluence, was just that we had this 1 minute 20 EMA here. But other than that, this was really more of just a price action based trade. And I had, pretty good feeling about it. Okay, here's our entry chart. So as price kind of, you can see we hesitated at that lower magenta line right here. We formed this little base and then sold off very, very aggressively. We made this little wicking high up here, which in hindsight actually could have been a nice short entry as a sort of failed break above this small consolidation. And then we made this reluctant grind back up into this area. And at the time, again, I wasn't interested in taking any shorts right here. I didn't look at this as being significant, but all of a sudden we saw sellers come in pretty strong. We saw this very significant change in the price action right through here. We did see some volume pick up as well. Nothing really major in the volume, but the price action was pretty significant. So I'm looking at this and going like, okay, now we're kind of grinding back up. This really looks like the first impulse and first retracement of perhaps what will be a new downtrend on this 15-second chart, which would really just be resuming the trend on the 1 minute chart. The other thing I noted was that this impulse down created this small little area of supply right in here. And so price was grinding up and it came right into that area of supply and then started breaking down. Now, I really would have liked these candles to look stronger and the volume to look stronger here. What I did notice was that we printed this large trade bubble and kind of popped. And then my entry was right here, a little bit above that bubble. I actually hit the market sell when the candle was down here. And in this case, slippage actually worked in my favor. So my trigger was that we bounced off this large trade and then it looked like price was breaking back below that area. So it looked like those buyers were now off sides. And that was sort of my thesis for triggering my entry on this, even though my actual entry triggered a little bit above it just because of the slippage that occurred there. And I gave the stop a little bit of clearance. I gave it actually about 3 ticks of room above these highs. I always figure when I'm trading micros, especially down on a 15-second time frame, give it a little bit of wiggle room, and usually just a couple extra ticks is enough. So that's what I did. All right, now of course you can see what actually happened here. I did go back and double check this. This literally hit my stop to the exact tick. It didn't even go 1 tick through it. It just barely tripped my stop and then reversed. Now I saw this happening and man, I really was considering jumping in again on here, especially if it broke below this, but then I just felt like I was chasing it. I didn't trust what was going on down here. Looked like a lot of volume coming in. I figured there was buyers here. I wanted to get out, right about where this is, which was right above these wicks. And once this started looking like it was sort of a fake out and going to go, my entry was going to be a lot lower, which would really skew the risk reward and not really make it a favorable trade. You can see that we did kind of stall out. Yes, we did eventually sell off, but I'm a scalper, so I'm generally not sitting through this kind of chop. And getting a lower entry would have really skewed the risk reward on this trade a little bit. So this one, it was annoying, but these things are going to happen if you trade. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to just have some trades where this happens. It's the randomness of it. So a little bit frustrating. It really should have been a green trade and a green day. I had 2 break-even trades prior to this one, but it is what it is. We do the best we can. And so, I guess point being is that I feel good about this trade. I feel like it was a good entry. I feel like logic was there. It obviously was pretty sound. I mean, if my stop was one tick higher, I would have caught the beginning of a very significant move down for the rest of the morning session. This one just happened to be a loser, and I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys losing trades and how we handle them. So tomorrow's a new day, and we're going to tackle it then. If you guys found this video helpful, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you feel so compelled, please leave a comment. If you're interested in joining the Discord room and trading with me live, you can find a link to that in the description. Thanks a lot.